Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends. I'm Angie Abt. I'm a registered Lily Dale medium, and I'm here today with my friend Mark Thomas. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Angie.
Mark, I'm going to get us on Blog Talk. Give me just a second, everybody. We'll be right with you.
Mhm.
You have to listen to that for a second. Karen, it's not letting me connect. My tech person will help us get connected, everybody. Just bear with us. There we go. Okay. Okay, we got that part over. So, good morning, everybody. Again, if you're tuning in, my name is Angie Abt. You're watching Spiritual Discoveries with Angie and Friends, and I'm here today with Mark Thomas. Good morning again, Mark.
Good morning, Ange.
Yeah, it looks like it's a sunny day where you are.
It is indeed. It's a beautiful
Yes.
day. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, beautiful. So yeah, we had 50s here in Lilydale yesterday, which was kind of nice. I was out walking all around.
Yeah, it's 80 down here in Florida today, so I'm looking forward to getting out to the beach later on.
That's
So,
yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect. So good morning, Joanne, and good morning, Anne Marie. Everybody, say hi to us and let us know where you're from, okay? And as Mark and I talk, if you have any questions, we absolutely welcome questions. Good morning, Tracy. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Okay, so Mark, before we get started, we have lots of things to talk about. And first thing I wanted to bring up is, Lilydale and you, we lost an important member of our community and of our family, Elaine Thomas. I just want to offer condolences. I know everybody misses her. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, yeah. January 14th, she moved on to her new address. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Her new
She's
address.
still very, very much engaged. We keep getting what I call affectionately Elaine sightings, where people
Uh-huh.
say she showed up here or said something to her there, them there, here or there, whatever. So it's been kind of interesting to get those reports from people. But yeah, she's still engaged doing her work, just on a different plane.
Yeah, she sure is. She sure is. Her presence was strong, and so many people in Lilydale, as I'm talking to people, are constantly saying Elaine was a true spiritualist. Elaine was a healer. She was kind, one of the best mediums ever.
Well, she had that reputation and she lived up to it. Yeah, yeah,
She
she
sure
did.
did. Yeah. I remember coming to Lilydale for my first reading. I was probably in my early 20s and got a reading from Elaine. And I have to say, it changed my life.
Yeah, that's so true for so many. She had a certain gift that she applied to helping people. That was her mission. It wasn't about drawing attention to herself, it was about being of help to others. And in the true light of spiritualism and how she was taught in spiritualism by Reverend Edith Sandy Wendling,
Yeah.
that's how she lived in her life, and she did her work in tandem with that. It was what she was dedicated to.
Yeah, she sure was a true healer through and through. And I remember the readings I got through the years were filled with lots and lots of guidance and guidance that helped me have a better relationship with my mother, for example, or all kinds of things like that.
Yeah. Sometimes she'd give people messages they didn't want to hear at times too. And but they panned out as time went on for them. And then she'd hear back from them, well, you had said this and I thought you were wrong, but you turned out to be right, so
Yeah, yeah.
she,
Yeah,
she was uncanny in that way.
sure was. I was one of the ones that said that to her because I remember I had a part-time job at a bank, and she described all these that I would be going back to school, and then I would have a management position and maybe my own business someday and all these things. And I thought, I don't think so. I think that this is one time she's incorrect. And then years later, everything she said, she was exactly correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And for her, it wasn't about being correct. It was about being helpful.
yeah.
And
Yes.
correctness was there. But, our sense of time and our and events and chronologies of things is not how they see it from the spirit side of life, from the spirit world. They see a bigger picture than we see. We get caught up in our current circumstances and our past circumstances. And oftentimes we don't have a clear vision of where we're headed. And she was very good at helping people find that vision for themselves.
Yes. Yeah. And yes, she would help you find that, and then offer you tools always too, and give you things that you could do that empowered you to do those things yourself.
Truly. Yeah. That was Elaine.
Yeah, amazing. So, well, I know I want to talk to you about, because I know, so you and Elaine got married, and I think you said 82.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in 87 you started spiritual insight training.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that, but you didn't call it that back then?
Now, it was called Channeling in You for the first couple of years, and then we switched to spiritual insight training. Yeah.
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 So can you talk about that? How did you start that? And I know it's a groundbreaking program, and I want to ask you lots about that.
Yeah, well, back in the 80s, Elaine had finished her training and had been ordained for a number of years when we met in 82. And I had asked her, I said, I wouldn't mind learning those things you do. I don't want to do readings. I don't want to do that kind of work. But, learning how to work with my intuition on deeper levels and my innate, what she called your birthright capabilities, how to develop those. And she said, well, we'd go and sit in these circles with Reverend Wendling or other teachers from the church, and then people could give a message after the message came through Reverend Wendling or other people, and I said, and how long have you been studying like this? 12 years. I said, Elaine, people don't have 12 years to devote to this kind of stuff. The world is changing fast, and if that's the way spiritualists are still teaching, it's old, it's outmoded, it's outdated. Yeah. And I said, there has to be better ways to teach what you folks have learned to do that don't take so much time and kind of that osmosis. They get it by just being around somebody who can do the work. And they didn't know how to, from my perspective, they obviously didn't know how to teach it terribly well. They knew how to do it, but how to teach it was another story. So Elaine, being a school teacher, she had was a reading specialist in one of the public schools in Western New York. And then she had left that to do the ministry full time. By the time we met, she already knew about teaching methods, and I had courses in college as well in educational methods and psychology. And so I said, we've got to search this out better. And so we went on about it was close to 5-year journey of looking at alternative ways to teach the spiritualist, mediumistic, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience. Even spiritual healing methods, that would accelerate the pace of learning for the students that were coming to learn this material. And as Elaine said, it's your birthright. So if it's your birthright, it's got to be easier than this to get back to it. And so we worked for 5 years, and she was continuing to do her work, teaching and readings, and I was doing a lot of work too in counseling and therapeutic arenas. And then we finally put together this modeling approach from neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, that really did work to accelerate the learning of this material, any material it can be applied to. So what we did was we applied it to these spiritual development things, which are now called spiritual insight training. We put this course together and we held it and we advertised it the first time as an experiment. And we asked people to come join us for an experimental weekend, retreat weekend in our home.
In your home, yeah.
In Lilydale. And we were astounded by how fast people were able to pick up this material and work with it using this modeling approach. And that was the beginning. And it's been going on now for 35 years, going on 36 years. And it's quite remarkable. Even to this day, it's always fresh. It's never dull, even though the course is very similar to what it's always been. It continues to get the results that we set out to get in the beginning.
Yeah, it sure does. And like like you said, it's astounding because people come in. I've taken the course, and of course I'm very fortunate that I've gotten to teach it with you a couple times now. And it's astounding. People learn. They walk out and you think you don't know how to meditate, or you think that you can't connect to your intuition, or what are these healing gifts, and everybody walks out knowing how to do it.
That's right. And that was the aim, and that's what happens. So yes.
Talk about that, Mark, like that, because I believe this too, that it's your birthright, and that makes a lot of sense. Like if it's our birthright, then it's got to be inside of us, and that's kind of what you're doing with spiritual insight training is connecting us back to that part of us, right?
That's exactly it. As Elaine called it, your birthright. We live in a society that doesn't teach you how to do these things.
Yeah.
And we live in a society that worships rational and intellectual, cognitive, those kinds of things. And I don't use that term worships loosely. It is that big a deal. We are so plugged in on that. Our school systems, our churches, our other institutions in society are all based upon that. Yeah. And so, and if somebody's emotional or intuitive, it's a put down quite often, right? Mm-hmm. And that's very tragic. And it's because we live in a world that does not teach you how to develop, as Elaine called her, exercise those intuitive muscles. And she says, if you don't use them and exercise them, they atrophy like your physical muscles do. And so you're not sharp with them, and you don't know how to work with them. And quite often people become afraid of those capabilities because they don't know how to work with them. And Elaine's whole method was to calm people down, just to, hey, let me show you where the handles are. Let me show you how to work with these things, these capabilities we all have, and develop them like developing a muscle. And so the Spiritual Insight course that we designed and is still going on today, and what we have coming up again this year, now that you're teaching instead of Elaine, the same program is there. And it's all about learning how to do this, and then repeatedly over the course of a long weekend, doing exercises where you get better and better at just exercising these muscles that are atrophied, if you will. Muscles, I use that term metaphorically, but using this. And so it's a skill-based program. It's not, you're not going to get information when you come to a Spiritual Insight training. You're learning how to do this, not to be taught by somebody who's just going to get up and demonstrate it and you go, oh, aren't they wonderful? No, it's all going to be about, I can do this.
Yeah, I can do this, and I can connect to my natural abilities. I can learn how to use these natural abilities to change my life, because really it's life changing when you can connect to your intuition and you can help other people.
Truly. And that's the point of it. And it's about learning how to do this for yourself, but also, as Elaine said, these are gifts to be shared.
Yeah, they sure are. So Mark, so I want to ask you some questions. So, okay, so with Spiritual Insight training, you call it a 3-in-1 transformation course.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
There's 3 components, and the sequence of the components is crucial as well. The first component is meditation, and that's where we take you first. Now, a lot of people today have taken courses on meditation. A lot of people know how to meditate, but we teach you some very systematic ways that are based on ancient methods, and most of them come out of yogic or Buddhist traditions, but we weave them into the course so that what you end up doing is getting into that deep interior silence that's in there for all of us, that most of the time our minds and bodies are so actively busy, we don't even know that that deep well of silence within us is there. And in that silence, when you go in that silence in you and I go in that silence in me, we are one. And we can connect on a deepest of levels with each other from that place. So we have very effective methods to help you get into that deep interior quiet. And so that's the first and the foundational piece. Without that, the other next two don't work.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like, that really is the most important thing is the meditation and connecting to that silence, because that like you said, that's where you're connecting.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's the first piece. And the second one is spiritual healing. How to work with the energy that is there for all of us. You don't have to be special to do this either.
Yeah.
And how to draw on that heart-centered energy in the universe, how to work with it to provide healing, laying on hands, healing, and basically touch method for healing and to bring that through. So it's really about an opening of your heart to the flow of that energy and to the other person, so that you can, again, from the meditation, moving into that quiet space, center yourself, and then move into the heart space, and then moving that energy that's available through your hands to another person. So that's the second component to it. The third component is okay, now that you've centered, you've opened your heart space, now the next is so now I need to connect in with this person that's here with me. What is it that I could clairvoyantly, is the term we use, or it's another octave of seeing than your mental seeing or your physical seeing, or clairaudiently, that's like hearing on a different level than your internal chatterbox or your speaking out loud. And then there's clairsentience, or if you will, your gut reactions to things, those senses that we get when we walk in a room and we know what's going on, but we shouldn't know and don't really know how we know, but we know.
But we know
how to work with that. So those three components are operative in all of us all the time, but most of the clairperceptive, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, the clairperceptive channels are, if not blocked, they're at least not pronounced enough that people are even aware that they're there for them. And that's the, if you will, the exercising of those muscles, those intuitive muscles I was talking about. And so how do you get to the space inside yourself is what we teach you, so that you can use those capabilities, as Elaine would say, as tools for service of others.
100%.
Also, how do we use it for ourselves in terms of using it to enhance our own intuitive capabilities, our own knowingness? But also, it's more important, Elaine was very strong on this, and so have I been all along. And at Fellowships, it's our philosophy is this needs to not be about you being capable and you being wonderful. It's about all of us are capable, all of us are wonderful, and all of us need to do this work, if you will, and use these abilities for the good of others.
Yeah, because every one of us can do this, not just special people.
You got it.
Yeah. You know, I always say this, Mark, to people about intuition. Like you said, you walk in a room and you just kind of know something, or you get those gut feelings and you kind of don't pay attention to them. And then how many times later on, I know for myself, it's like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Or I knew I should have done that because I had that feeling. And then, like, say, in rediscovering my intuitive muscles, I realized that when you get those gut feelings, that's your intuition. You know, we all have it.
Yeah, we do. And it's to our advantage to pay attention to it, and to our disadvantage when we don't pay attention to it.
Oh, so many times, like that I regret that I just knew something and didn't pay attention. You know, I have to ask you, because we talked about meditation, and you're right. You know, nowadays there's a lot of people who meditate, but there's still a lot of people that feel like they can't. And I've had people say, I don't know, if I should come to the class, because I don't know if I can meditate. I can't stop my thoughts.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest misconceptions about meditation. People have come to think that having thoughts and body sensations, emotions, whatever, during meditation is your foe, and actually it's your friend. The the bottom line is when you slow your body down, you slow your breathing down, you sit down in a chair or on the floor, whatever you're going to sit down to meditate, what ends up happening is you are slowing the body. And as soon as you do that, we are not a separate minded body. We're all one. We just think
Yeah.
we're separate. And what happens is when you slow the body down like that, it's going to generate thought. It's going to bring your awareness to body sensations. It's going to bring your awareness around to what's going on inside of you versus outside of you. Well, that's going to generate thought. So get over it, folks. Just allow those to be there. And what we teach people is to have a focal point, whether it's a visual focal point, an audio focal point, or a feeling body sensation focal point, to alternate between the thoughts, not to try to stop the thoughts, but to alternate between the thoughts and a focal point, back and forth, until your mind gets to be able to just do what it would like to do, which is settle down, or in the words of Sherry O'Teary on Saturday Night Live, simmer down now, simmer down,
Yes.
and, and but you don't have to force that. If you try and force it, your mind's just going to go, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
and you're going to feel like agitated. And the other thing we teach people is do not evaluate a meditation in the meditation. It's a waste of time. You are a very poor a very poor judge of what's going on at that time. So what you need to do is be aware of where you are when you sit down to meditate. How am I feeling? How tormented am I by my mind or emotions at the moment? Or am I feeling unrested or stressed or fatigued? Be aware of that before you sit down. Sit down, go through the process of meditations like we teach. And then when you get up and start moving again, then evaluate how the meditation affected you, because it's really not about your experience in the meditation. It's about how it transforms your life up, moving around. And otherwise it would be just a case of narcissism.
That's true. That's
and
true.
It wouldn't be about helping anybody else. Then it'd be only about serving yourself. And this is not where we go.
No.
So you're a poor judge of a meditation when you're in it. And so only evaluate after you get back out and go, oh yeah, I am in a better place than when I sat down.
Yeah.
And then you notice when you get into the routine of that day-to-day routine of that, you build that into your life. What ends up happening is your life starts transforming from the inside out.
Yes. And things start going better and things start falling into place. And though, that those intuitive, hits, if you will, that we all get all the time, you recognize them and you use them in your life.
That's right.
Yeah. It's to me, I feel meditation is the most important thing. And I remember coming to the school, because fellowships, we'll talk about the school in a second too. But I remember that was a requirement, was you had to meditate every day, and I remember thinking like, I don't know how I'm going to do it this, because I don't know if I have time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And you said what you just said, do it and just kind of notice the difference in your life. And I did. And now here I am 20 something years later. And I could really, I don't feel right if I don't start my day with the meditation.
Yeah. We certainly go through every day needing physical food, right? And we also need spiritual food. And that's how we get our spiritual food.
Yeah. I saw something once on Facebook that said meditation is like giving a hug to yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it does. It feels that way. So, okay. So I know, so with spiritual insight training, because I think it's the best course ever. I've had people ask me, I've taken other courses, so I'm not a beginner, I've been doing this for a while. Why should I take spiritual insight training? What's different about it?
Well, first of all, we've had people who are totally green to this kind of thing, no background whatsoever, all the way up through people who've been doing it for decades, come through, and every one of them learned something new about how to work with these capabilities, these skills, in advancing whatever it is they're doing from where they are to where they want to go. So that's the nature of the learning model we have. It takes you where you are and moves you to your next level of working with these things. So it didn't matter how good you were, or how inadequate you might have felt, or how totally kind of burned out, maybe even on some of these kinds of things. So they've taken a gazillion courses and they still kind of muddling around in it, and not figuring their way with it.
Mhm.
What we do is work with you to try to help you figure out how to make this integrate into your daily life. Okay. And it's no longer just about, oh, look at me, what I can do, but it's about, wow, this is a natural, holistic means by which I can experience life on a deeper and more connected to other folks level.
Yeah.
And that helps people move from where they've been to where their next level is. And it doesn't matter, like I said, what level they are coming to us from.
Yeah.
It will advance them. And that's just the nature. That's how it's worked. I mean, we're not Johnny come latelys here, Angie. As you know, we've been doing this 35 years, Elaine and I and others, and it does that for people. That's what we hear back from folks year in, year out. And that was our goal when we started out, and it still is our goal.
Yes. I remember, well, when I came to spiritual insight training, I had been doing readings and kind of sort of happened in a random kind of way with my friend Sandy, who and and I tell lots of stories. I've told you lots of stories about her. But I remember coming and I thought, I know how to do this, but I don't know why I know how to do this. And it kind of scares me a little bit. And I have people that say that to me. I've had people, I just did a reading the other day and somebody said, I have these abilities too. I don't know what to do with them. And I don't know why I have them. So I felt like spiritual insight training for me, with having experience, taught me. It's like, so this is why I can do this. It's not, it's not, we can all do it. It's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing.
Yeah. It reduces the fears on whatever level people are doing fear, for some, they're afraid of it because they don't understand it.
Right.
Some people are afraid of it because they've had experiences that spooked them. Some folks are afraid because it's just plain new, right? And they fear things that are new. But what we do is help you get at ease with these things.
Yes, yeah. Or even like, I can do this. Why can I do it? Well, because it's a natural part of us. It's our birthright. I remember coming to Elaine for a reading and I felt like Sandy kept saying, you need to tell Elaine that you can do this. And I was afraid to tell her. And I finally did. And she said, well, of course you can. It's your birthright. It's not, I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. This is a natural thing for all of us.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And Elaine was real clear with people on that all the time. As she said, she says, my main job is to work myself out of a job.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. She said that
as a spiritualist medium. She would say that even in classes and in other places, in conversations with people I'd hear over time. She said, hey, she said, people in my line of work aren't going to like what I have to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Our biggest job, if we're doing it right, is to work ourselves right out of a job so that everybody had these capabilities, can bring them out and use them for themselves and other people. And then they don't need us anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because we're teaching them how to do it for themselves and how empowering that is and how important that is. And that's what they learn in spiritual insight training too.
That's correct.
Yeah. So I see Karen's here. Thank you, Karen, for putting stuff up. But so there's some fellowships of the spirits, spiritual insight training coming up, April 20th to 23rd. July 20th, 23rd, and August 24th to 27th. So I'm glad Karen put that up. So Mark, these are held in person, correct?
We only teach this course in person. As I said in the beginning, this is not a knowledge course, it's a skill course, and you need feedback. And we have a very high staff to student ratio with lots of small group work where you get lots of feedback from people who know how to do these kinds of things and are comfortable with teaching and assisting you in your own development. And along with the two instructors, myself and you, Angie, now we really provide a high quality, hands-on, you're going to be doing this, not just hearing about it, learning experience. So you got to be on site. This can't be taught like we're doing here electronically.
Yeah.
People can try to teach it that way, but you don't get the feedback you need. You need that personal interaction. This is a high touch kind of work, not high tech. And so we require folks to be online. During the height of COVID, we had to stop teaching it because there was no way to safely do it. So, but we're back now full tilt. And we do it in a retreat format as well. I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
Why do we do it on a retreat format? Why do you need to come to us, to our center on beautiful Cassadaga Lake in Cassadaga, New York, just outside of the Dale? We need you to come into this environment because what it does is it helps you set all your distractions that you don't even know how many you've got going on aside and really focus on your growth for a weekend and your capability growth for a weekend. And we find that is the best method. We provide food. We start on a Friday evening after dinner, and we go through that evening, and then we start Saturday morning again, and we go through into the evening. Friday into the evening, Saturday as well all day, and Sunday till about 4. It's a highly intensive weekend, and we have tremendous staff. We have good quality meals that we provide at the lunch hour, so you don't have to go out. You get your own breakfast out, and you get your evening meal out. But we do provide lunches to help you get together and visit with your classmates over lunch and so forth. And it is a remarkable retreat experience. It's been that way since day one. We've tried it in another format a number of years ago, and it just didn't have the same effects. That coming away and getting totally engaged in what you're learning and staying focused on that is crucial to your being able to develop these capabilities as high as you can in a weekend.
Yeah. And like you said, too, there's staff, you're supported. I think that's important, too. Somebody is right there for you if you're, nervous because you're learning something new or what have you. And I feel that's important, too.
Without that, again, it wouldn't work terribly well. In the beginning, we didn't have that, but we had smaller classes. We have a little bigger classes now. Maximum size that we're going to have is 30. But, the bottom line is usually it's somewhere between 20 and 30. And we have small groups where you get to interact and try out these skills and get some feedback on how they're working and coaching with it. So it works out. It's very personal. You get personal attention over the course of this weekend. And we used to do Spiritual Insight Part 1 and then a second course, Part 2. We've combined them now because people are able to learn even faster than they did. And that's been an important shift that we've done over the last several years. At first, we were a little nervous again because we didn't know if people could handle and integrate this if we pushed them all together in a weekend, and we did, and it's really working. And so now it is the way we teach it nowadays. And there are people who have done Part 1 before and want to do Part 2. You could jump in. We'll let you come in and jump in on Friday evening and go through the weekend, which is the portion of the course which is really heavily focused on what we would do in a Part 2. So if you've missed out that opportunity to do Part 2 by itself, you can still pick it up with us here. We have that capability of bringing you in.
I'm glad that you said that, Mark. You're answering. I have my question. You're answering it before I ask.
Must be I'm intuitive.
It must be you're intuitive somehow.
I'm using my intuition.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you said that because I've had a lot of people ask me that, like, oh, I took Spiritual Insight training 1 year ago, but I didn't take 2, and now you don't offer 2 by itself. But that doesn't matter. You can still.
We'll work in.
Yeah, you can do it.
And at the right place.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, too, I went back before I went to the school. I took Spiritual Insight training a couple of times, and learned something different every single time I took it.
That's right. You do. And it's like the Zen folks say, you can't step in the same river twice.
Oh, that's good. I like that. And that's true. That's true. Because I remember that. And it was the second time. I mean, some similarities, but things I didn't remember at all, and certain things I understood that I didn't understand the first time.
Yeah, because you've grown and you've applied it. And then you come back in and you go, oh, my goodness, I didn't even remember that. Did you talk about that last time? Yeah, we talk about the same thing each time. And people go, I never heard that. Well, that's because you were working on something else inside yourself at that time. It was important to you then. Right now, like I said, you think you're stepping in the same river, but it's not the same river.
That's true. That's true. So how did you go from the spiritual insight training classes? So you had those for 35 years now, and then there got to be fellowships, of the Spirit, School of Healing and Prophecy, and I remember, like, and I tell people about the school, and I remember finding out about it that I was so happy. Like there's a school that you can go to learn this stuff. Like that was amazing to me. So and it still is to people. So how did that start? And you know what, I have to say this too. Fellowships of the Spirit School. I've taken a lot of different trainings through the years and talked to people, and really it's the best. It really is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We when we got done with the part 1 and part 2, now it's combined, but in that time it was separate. We had people say, well, we want to keep studying with this method, and we like this learning method, and how can we continue? And we said, well, we'll get back to you. So Elaine and I talked it over, and Elaine had a lot of contacts in the field of spiritual healing and mediumship and prophecy and intuition and all that. And she started asking around. She told them about our learning model, how we're doing, and would they have an interest in being part of a faculty if we started a school. And she was fairly easily able to connect a whole faculty together, all of whom had decades of expertise built up, who we could use this same modeling approach with them. And so it wasn't just about Elaine's method, it was about other people's method. It wasn't just about one healer's method, it was about multiple healers' methods. And how they approached and how they did their work. So we said, we'll put a program together that is the modeling, same learning process, but we'll bring in a different teacher each weekend or each time you come in. Or in the case of the opening week long that we do with the school, multiple teachers. And you can learn from each of them. And as Elaine would say, seize the best and leave the rest. What works the best for you, you'll have and can add to your toolbox.
Yes.
Capabilities.
Yes.
And so it's not just Elaine's way to do things, or now in the case of Tom Kratz, the co-director, and he's now directing the school. Yeah. In Elaine's with Elaine gone. We have this range of people with capabilities who are professional, who come from a good heart space, which we required of faculty. And the students apply the same learning methods to those faculty that come in. The interesting thing is these faculty learn very quickly with the groups of our school that they're with, that they're not amateurs, they're not beginners. So they're teaching things like they would teach to their advanced students. Mm-hmm. And here these folks are, can be fairly new to this work. Some of them not. Some people go through our school have been doing the work for a long time and want to continue to grow. So we've always felt, Elaine and I and folks that are involved with our school, that learning is a lifelong process.
Yeah.
And Reverend Wendling drove that home at Elaine too, that you always be a student.
Always be, yes.
Always be a student. Always there's more to learn, and there's always more people to learn from. And it doesn't mean that you're going to do everything their way, but you're going to learn from their learnings.
Yes.
And incorporate those learnings into the model you're building, so that in fact what you do is enrich the depth and the breadth of the model of how you're working with these capabilities. It's worked remarkably well for a long time. We've had a lot of people go through our school over time. And so that's what we did, Angie.
Yeah, it's excellent. And like you said, always be a student. I've been doing this for 25, 30 years myself, and I still take classes because you can still learn and still open up more. And I remember Jesse First, who was on faculty for a long time, said that too. Always keep learning. And I learned so much in the school and from all the different teachers. I remember Elaine saying, like, Elaine wouldn't just, or you wouldn't just put anyone in to teach. It had to be somebody that was coming from that inner place and best of the best at what they did. And that's important too.
Yeah, and from a loving space. There's a lot of people with capabilities who don't come from a heart space, or they come from a very egocentric space. And,
Yes.
and Elaine would absolutely not have them teaching in the school. It wouldn't be that she would have them, she could have them teaching on our open seminar program because they've things to teach. She does not, wouldn't wall them out, like that. But they're in the school because it's a modeling learning process. She was very particular about who she put up in the front of that room and how they worked with other people.
Yeah.
Had to be about being of service to others and not be about self-aggrandizement. And she was huge on that. And we will continue with that philosophy at fellowships.
Yeah.
It's not about you, it's about who you're serving and
Yeah.
who you're helping.
Yeah.
And so all of the teachers of our faculty, that's their orientation.
Yeah, it sure is. And I remember Elaine always talked about this too, and you too, is how important it is to do your inner work, right? And that's why, like, you come from that place in your heart, and you know who you are, and that's important too. Can you talk about that?
It is. The more you learn and grow spiritually with the meditation as the foundation, what you end up doing is you start growing on all levels simultaneously. And when you're growing, you start finding things in your life that are old and outmoded, and you let go of them, and things that are new, you start emerging, and your energy starts going in those directions. However, those play out, and everybody's different. Everybody has a different way that their life needs to unfold. Thank goodness we're all different, not the same. It'd
Yeah.
be a pretty dull place with that. But anyway, because we're different, we have to unfold in different ways.
Yeah.
And so we have a program that helps you do that. But it's also a program. You're in a class in the school. You're in a class, and it builds a spiritual community, as Tom Kratzley quite often talks about and drives that point home with people. Is you're in this together. You're in a class of classmates, and they develop a bond every year. There's a connection that happens that's so crucial to the learning process, where they're in this together and they know it, and they have to work with each other and help each other through at times. So it's not just about the instructors we bring in, but it's the spiritual community that become part of.
Yeah.
And there's a bond that transcends their time at school with us. These folks have built new lifelong friends, and they stay in touch with their classmates, going forward. And it's been quite remarkable to see that over time too. So it's about spiritual community as well as developing your own capabilities of service.
Yeah, there's something about, and I remember this when I took the courses, and I've seen it like through the years, is you make lifelong friends that are like family, and you're kind of going through this experience together. And I've run into people that I haven't seen in 10 years, and you sit down as if you just saw them yesterday, it could, because you have that commonality, you became family.
Truly.
That's pretty special. That doesn't happen in all schools, Mark. That
No, it
yeah.
doesn't. Yeah.
Well,
And,
that's you
and
and
that's one
Elaine.
of the things that is so well uh, known about our programs as well, is you're not a lone ranger out there.
No, no, it's so unique. Everybody, like I encourage you to hop on Fellowship's website and take a look at like more of the description for the spiritual insight training courses. They really are life changing, and you really do learn so much. And it is truly is about service to others, and about learning how to do the inner work, so that you can be a healer. I mean, I look at mediumship, and I remember Elaine saying this too. Mediumship is verbal healing.
Mhm. Yeah, she was real big on that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the way she framed it as she taught it, and she demonstrated it.
Oh, we have questions, Mark. Okay, so hi,
Yeah,
Danielle. Are they available via Zoom or in person? And I think
yeah. No, we covered that one, but absolutely no Zoom possibility whatsoever with this spiritual insight training.
yeah, Danielle, you would.
Cool.
I know Danielle. You would love it, Danielle. And the in person is so important. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Joanne, I highly recommend the spiritual insight training to anyone who is curious about developing their abilities and improving their abilities. You're right, because you develop or you can improve. It is well-rounded, and the staff are so helpful and encouraging. You won't regret it. It's life-changing. Yeah. She couldn't have said it better, right, Mark?
And that's the feedback we get and been getting for a long time. Appreciate the comments.
Yeah, definitely. And so I want to ask you just about fellowships of the Spirit all the way around. Because what I know, and I've had a lot of people ask, with Elaine not here, fellowships of the Spirit's continuing on, right?
I would say I have one sentence response for folks wondering about that. The mission was bigger than the lady, always was, always will be. She learned from a tradition of spiritualists. She learned from Reverend Edith Sandy Wendling, who was her teacher, Elaine's teacher, who lived to be 100 years old. And Elaine was her assistant pastor for a while before she went off on her own. And Elaine taught so much. About what Elaine taught was from the philosophy and the orientation to the work that she learned studying, sitting with Reverend Wendling for years, and then working with her at the church. Yeah. But Reverend Wendling wasn't the only person, because Reverend Wendling learned this somewhere as well. She learned this from none other than Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and his wife, Lady Doyle. Lady Doyle was a trance medium back in England, and Reverend Wendling grew up as a child in England and went to their home for trance sessions with Lady Doyle and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So, the bottom line here is yes, Elaine's gone, but what Elaine did and how she did it was not about Elaine Thomas. It was about a whole tradition of ways in which to work with these spiritualist teachings and how to do it from a very heart-centered space, a space, as we've been talking about here. This whole orientation to this work is yes, Elaine manifested that. She embodied it. She spoke it. She walked the talk. She was that. But at the same token, she was not a person that invented this. This came down through a tradition. It came down through a lineage. And that lineage continues. That lineage continues through her students. It continues through her husband, i.e., here I am, right? Yep. It continues through the organization called Fellowships of the Spirit, and will continue as a result. There is no end to it because Elaine's life ended. It was never about Elaine. Anybody that believes that there's a problem or that it would end because Elaine is gone has missed the whole point of Elaine's teachings in the first place, quite frankly. Understand it's a deeper mission, and it transcends one individual. And yes, we miss Elaine dearly, very much, and we will continue to do. But excuse me.
Oh, I know. We all feel like that. She's
It's just, she would have it no other way.
I know. And and you're carrying on according to her wishes. She wanted you to.
That's correct. And last summer when she couldn't teach, and she said, I want Angie to take over my role at the teaching the spiritual insight courses. You already were on the faculty of the school. And she said, I want Angie to pick up that role in the spiritual insight courses. So you and I got you up to speed to how to teach the methods, and you jumped right in and did a superb job. And now you're fully trained and up and running and ready to keep going with it. I'm here and continue to move these spiritual insight courses forward. Angie, you and I are working on the open seminar program that Elaine used to put together each year. She wasn't able to do it last fall, so we're a little behind the 8 ball timing wise right now, but we will be announcing in the next month a very robust open seminar program for fellowships that will come about, and it'll be, I think, in some ways more diverse and more robust than we've had in the past. So people will see as this year unfolds that yes, Elaine is gone, but fellowships is not going away.
Yeah, and I fellowships is not going away, and Elaine's helping us still. We both, like you said, Mark, we both have had Elaine sightings, and she's guiding us still.
Oh yeah, clear. I feel her presence, and it's also just making sure that we stay aligned with what she put forward. You know, the philosophy, the whole orientation of it, and the methods, all of that are going to continue. It wasn't about her. She
No.
never meant for it to be about her. And so what? Guess what? It was not just about her.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Hi, Terry. Terry's on prayers for fellowships. Elaine is still here. Now there is a superpower team. Oh, that's
Yeah, she's helping out, as we said. Yeah.
yeah, that's for sure. So, so let's go back real quick to spiritual insight training. I mean, if I know, Karen, if you want to put up the graphic, but we have spiritual insight training coming up. It's here on the bottom of the screen. So April 20th through 23rd. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about. We'll go back one, but July 20th to 23rd or August 24th to 27th. So there's 3 opportunities to take the course. If you go on to Fellowship's website, which I know Karen has in comments, and we'll put that up. Oh, it's there. I see it. It's right there. But if you go on, you can take a look and you can register there, and you can get more information about the program as well. And Karen, that graphic you had right before that one. Okay, so Mark, this is something you and Elaine used to go out and do intro talk about spiritual
Yeah,
training, right? Yeah.
We did for years, and then our son came along, so we couldn't. It was too difficult to do anymore. But we used to do these kind of talks. So Angie and I are going to start this up again, and we have the first one scheduled for March 30th in Hamburg, New York, at Flicker Gifts, 6:30 p.m. as you can see on the screen. And we'll be doing a little bit of demonstrating. We'll have you doing a few things like we teach on the weekend, just a few things, a taste of what we do on the weekend, and then we'll take your questions and have some conversation with you over what we do. And it's informal. It's kind of a fun evening, and we'll let you get a taste of how we work and what the course is about, and get a direct experience of Angie and myself and how we approach things. And it might give you some comfort in making the decision to come join us for a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. So come join us at Flicker Gifts in Hamburg, and you'll love Flicker Gifts. It's a great shop with lots of cool things in there, and Mark and I will be there. So yeah, that'd be great. Any teasers about our summer program or
Well, what I will say is we in the summertime, we generally didn't do much programming in the evenings. And so we're starting a new series this summer we're calling Weeknights at the Lake.
I love it.
And I do too. It's kind of catchy, but at the same token, it's different. And we wanted to put a good name to it. So we did. And we're going to have Tuesday nights, Joanne Lombardo from Lilydale.
Nancy.
Nancy. I'm sorry, back up, Mark. Yes, I'm out in front of myself. Nancy Lombardo from Lilydale, let's back up here, is going to be doing yoga on Tuesday nights, 5:30 to 6:15. We will have on Wednesday nights, this will start even earlier in May. Michelle Paternetti from Jamestown, New York, will be doing development circles. She's one of Elaine's students that came through our school and has done her own courses and set up her own work like Angie has too. So Michelle will be doing Wednesday nights, and she's an excellent teacher.
Excellent,
as is Nancy. And then on Thursday nights, alternating with Don Scott with some Qigong, Gail Heil with some sound bowl healing sessions, and another course that'll happen in August, one evening from Roseanne Script, which will be teaching children and families how to meditate together. So that'll be our weeknights at the lake. I can talk about those things right now. It's kind of a teaser, if you will. Angie's doing.
I know. I wanted.
The bottom line is
hoping that was going to be
weeknights at the lake is going to be in the development circle, and the others will be 7 to 8:30 each.
Which, by the way, everybody, the reason it's called Weeknights at the Lake is because Fellowships, the building Fellowships of the Spirit, is actually on the lake.
It's right at the edge of Casadega Lake. Yeah, Casadega Lake. So it's not just a metaphor. You look out our windows, you're looking over Casadega Lake. So
it's beautiful and it's peaceful, and I'm telling you, you'll love it. So come down, and if you're in the Buffalo area, it's not only an hour away. Come on down.
There you go. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, that's our setting. So when we say weeknights at the lake. We mean it. Yeah.
Yes, we mean it. That's why. Isn't it beautiful, everybody? Mark, I have Danielle. Are the classes all day, overnight for 3 days? Danielle's asking about spiritual insight training.
Yes, spiritual insight training is, we go all day. They start at 7:30 or 7 o'clock. I'm sorry, on Friday evening, and they
Thursday.
go. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm
It
in the
used
old.
to
I'm
be
in the old
Friday.
format. Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday evening at 7, and it goes to about 10:30, and then we break for the evening, and then we start right in early at 8 o'clock on the Friday morning and Saturday morning, same schedule, and Sunday mornings, and we go right through the day, right through into the evening with a lunch break and a dinner break as well.
Yeah. You get breaks. You get breaks for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
we get breaks for meals, and then on a Sunday we go till about 4 p.m. It's a full day, so we, as you can tell, with that amount of time, we've combined the two part 1 and part 2 courses, and a lot of that time you are doing exercises to sharpen these skills.
Yes, very much. And somebody says I'm not seeing all. I was looking at the comments. I was talking to you, but the hotel is super affordable, so I'm thinking that's about housing. And yes, there's guest houses in Lilydale. There is a hotel in Lilydale that you can stay in, for the evenings.
Only for the summer. Only in the summer courses, the Lilydale Hotel is open, right? Yeah.
Right. But the guest houses are open for the April one, right, Mark? Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And if you call the fellowship's office or look on Lilydale's website, or send me a message and I can let you know about the guest houses too. So yeah, we'd love to see you guys. Come see us for sure. It's gonna be fun, right, Mark?
Oh yeah. That's the nice thing about it. You're learning and you're having fun.
You're having fun. I mean, I every time I'm there, you have fun and you connect. You'll love that part of it. You have the best conversations, the best mentors to help and support you. The best teachings from Mark and me. So yeah, but yeah, absolutely, we'd love to have you for sure. And Mark, thank you.
And you make new friends. You make new friends.
Yeah, you will. Friends that you'll have for forever. Everybody says that. Everybody does. Yeah, it's amazing. So, Mark, thank you so much for coming on this morning. I
My
appreciate
pleasure, Angie. Always fun to see you and talk about stuff that we like to do. So
it. I know. And everybody, thanks for joining us. Well, we appreciate you very much. And we hope to see you maybe for weeknights at the lake or spiritual insight training, or take a look at our other programs that we'll be announcing soon. And I hope you have a great, happy St. Patrick's Day.
yeah, the other thing about our other courses,
Yeah.
our summer programs, there'll be weekend courses every weekend starting in June right through September into October. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for those. Those will be put up on the web in the next month as well. So.
Yeah, and I can tell you some very exciting classes, very exciting new things that we've never had before. You're gonna love it. So yeah, thank you. Thanks everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Forgot about that.